10 ways to save money in your teens or in your 20s. Hello, I'm Henry Bluefield and welcome to the channel. And welcome to my office that will be here for probably a few videos. So let's jump in, straight to the value, straight to the content of what are the 10 ways you can save money. These are all based on my own experience as well as just through talking with friends and just as you do in socialising, having conversations about money and where money's going, what people are spending on, and just me observing, looking at ways that I've managed to save money and avoid wasting money in some regards. I appreciate we all have our different preferences, but this is just my view, my opinion, so hopefully this will be helpful to you. Bear in mind, this is based around not having any living expenses or not having like your own home to cover costs with. I still live at home with my mum, but I'm doing that based on this. So if you do live in your own like flat, house, whatever it is, I won't go into much detail about that. So there'll be plenty of other videos to do that. And when I do obviously move out and have my own home, I'll go into lots of content around that. But this is just around, this is what I've said to teens and early 20s. So let's jump in. Number one, nights in, not nights out. So this is just the concept of if you are quite into having like a Friday, Saturday night or Monday night out with your friends and you often go clubbing, it's just look at what can you do to have nights in rather than nights out and just find common things you all enjoy doing, whether that's like playing Xbox or PlayStation, whatever, or just having drinks around someone's house. It might be that a few of your mates are at uni or you all live at home with mum or whatever, but whoever's got the best negotiating skills with their parents to be like, come on mum and dad, go out for the night and I'll have my mates round and have a pool party if you've got a pool. Alternatively, you can just turn it into like games nights and stuff if you enjoy playing like board games, like Monopoly, Risk, all great games. Monopoly's a bit stressful though. But also, if you are going to have nights out, one thing that I would recommend doing that can work, especially once you've had a drink, we can say like, I'm going to budget, I'm not going to spend more than this. But when you've got your card and you're tapping contactlessly and it's like 10, 15, 20 quid for a round, you're like, I've had 4 drinks, 3 drinks, 7 drinks, no, 4, I don't know. One way to control budgeting is to take cash on a night out rather than your card. So that will limit you. Do not take your card with you, just have cash. So then you can say, right, my budget for the night, whatever you want your budget to be, 20 quid, 50 quid, 100 quid, doesn't matter, but it's limiting on what you can spend. I think we can all say like, I'm going to limit what I spend, but when you've got your card and once you've had a few drinks and suddenly you're like buying each other around or you meet someone that you find quite attractive, you want to buy them a drink, suddenly that all goes out the window. So take cash with you rather than card. And on another note, you've got the safety there. It's much riskier losing your card than it is losing cash. If you lose 20, 40 quid, whatever, on the dance floor, yeah, it's a bummer, you've lost that money, but ultimately, nothing's going to happen, you've just lost some money. Whereas if you lose your card on a night out, especially if you lose it in a club on the dance floor, someone picks up and goes, whoa, I've got a card here, tap, 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 who wants a drink? Next thing you know, you come home, your bank account's empty because someone thought it'd be great to have a drink on you. Number 2 is smoking. I've never smoked in my life, I've got very strong opinions around it and people that do it or don't do it, or people that do smoke, I won't go into that, but just obviously a huge cost saving exercise is just don't smoke. It's kind of all I really need to say on that really. But yeah, I don't know if you smoke yourself and it's something you're trying to quit, or if you've had friends, like I've had this experience multiple times with friends that have started smoking and I have that conversation with them, the detriment it will be to their health, not necessarily now but in years to come, but also to their wallet. Like I've had friends where they're going on about not being able to pay the bills or why are you going on holiday? I can't afford to go on holiday and I work twice as much as you. And then I'm like, well, quit smoking. That'll be one key thing. And the response will be, oh, I only spend 6 quid, I only buy one patch of baccy like a week or whatever, or that lasts me a month. Right now, it's this much money. Compound that over the year. Like I had this conversation with a friend years ago and it was like, compounded over the year, it was 500 quid. It's like, you can go on holiday, like you can get away for a week. I've done it on 500 quid. And not only that, that will increase over time. It's a habit, you're addicted. That one patch of baccy that lasted you a month initially will then start to last you 2 weeks. It will then start to last a week and a half. And then suddenly you're going through it within a week. Not only that, I always just used to see in the car just like filters and all sorts everywhere. It's not a very tidy habit and it's often, you will lose all kinds of little bits and pieces everywhere. Not to mention lighters. Like, I don't know how many smokers I talk to and it's just like, lighter's gone missing, can't find a lighter. So then you're back down the offie, buying another lighter. So number 2 is don't smoke or quit smoking. Number 3 is drugs. Technically illegal, but let's just be honest here. From my own experience, I've never touched any drugs at all, like illegal drugs. and yeah, never smoked anything, never sniffed anything, never injected anything. But people do what they want to do in their free time, up to you. Just if you are looking to try and save money, huge cost saving exercise. Like a few friends of mine will like smoke weed every day or every other day. That's a very expensive habit. Like I don't even want to go into the numbers. They're probably spending more on weed than I'm on therapy, and they'll probably argue that's money well spent. But to the point, if you are trying to look to save money, don't have a therapist as well, I suppose. But yeah, cut down on drugs, reduce the amount of drugs you take, or just don't take drugs at all, which can tie, I suppose, depending what kind of drugs you're doing, and if it is kind of like party drugs, then that can tie into number one of like nights in rather than nights out, might discourage you. I do have friends as well that won't do drugs, but on a night out, once they've had a few, suddenly. Number 4 is to use a sale properly. So many people I know will be off to the shopping centres, parading around the shops trying to find some bargains when the sale's on, thinking, well, I've saved a bunch of money. Like, yes, this fancy item was £200 and you got it 70% off. You haven't actually saved 70%, you've still spent 30% of that price. You spent 60 quid, you're not saving 140 quid, you're spending 60 quid. You wasn't going to buy that item, you wasn't going to the sale to purchase that item. So this is like the way that I would use a sale is if there are particular items I want to buy, then I'll get to know the company. Like for one example, I really like Charles Turret's shirts. I don't really wear too many shirts very often, I used to wear shirts more, but I would never buy a shirt just randomly. I would always sort of, when I got to a point where I'm like, okay, yeah, I do need to get some new shirts. I knew Charles Turret always doing sales, plus they're always sending me stuff in the post for sale items, for further reductions and further cost savings as a, I don't know, member or whatever it was. So I would tactically wait until that exact moment and wait until the sale's on, and then they're doing the 4th or whatever deal, so I can go and get some shirts at a lot cheaper price than what I would normally if I just walked into the store. Sales are a tricky one though. I feel like retail therapy, especially in like this day and age, is such a go-to for people in order to sort of help themselves like mentally. How many of us have like a bad breakup and like, let's go get a new outfit? How many of us are, go back to number one, how many of us are going on a nice night out, a big night out, and think, right, I need to get myself an outfit, and you think you're spending 100 quid at clubs and pubs or whatever that night, but you're also spending 150 quid on your new outfit that you got, plus you're getting your nails done, plus you're getting like all of these things soon add up to a gargantuan sum. And yeah, sales, just use them properly or avoid them entirely. And that's one critical thing as well, is that when you go into a sale, is have, like I said with the shirts, like have that shop you're going to. You don't need to look at any others. There's no point. Just go straight to the shop you're going to, purchase what you're looking for. Don't browse and look for other things. Just pick up the items you need, done. Because it's so, that's the whole point of a sale. It's there to draw your attention. It's there. That's why, like, the first colour your eye sees or your brain picks up is red. That's where I see sale signs are bright red. They're massive and they're always vibrant red. So use sales properly. Number 5 is subscriptions. I remember, like, as a child, when it went from VHS to DVDs, and I was like, I wonder what the next thing's going to be, like, after DVDs. DVDs aren't going to be here forever. I can't remember how old I was. It was probably, like, the transition was when I was, like, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. But I just remember having DVDs and being like, oh, these are cool, these are different. You don't have to rewind anymore. I wonder what the next thing would be. And I thought it'd be it was basically the Amazon Fire Stick where you, like, put a USB in and it's got all of this content for you to consume. That's what I thought it would be. I thought we would, for some reason, be buying like bundles of movies, and it'd just be like you get this chip that's got hundreds of movies on it, which I suppose is what it is. I just didn't connect it to the internet. But this is like getting off the point. Nowadays, we all have subscriptions. We've got Netflix, we've got Prime, we've got Hulu, whatever it's called. We've got Disney Plus. So many different things that offer so many different services. Now TV. Is Love Film still one? No, probably not. But anyway, we've got all these different services and subscriptions for different benefits, fast delivery and whatnot. Realistically, do we need that rapid delivery? I remember like years ago when I used to order skateboards and it would be 5 days delivery. The excitement for those 5 days, it wasn't even 5 days, it was like 4 to 10 days or something. So you're like building up the excitement for the day it's going to arrive, and then it gets to the window when it's arriving. It's like, is it today, is it today, is it today? And then it arrives and it's just like, I've got this new skateboard. Whereas now you just click, done, click, done. Subscriptions can be really dangerous for that, and you just, well, it takes up so much of your time as well. Like on Netflix, how many of us are like, I'm going to just pick something to watch, and like an hour later you're still trying to pick what to watch. And then I saw this funny, I think it was a meme or something, where it's like, how would you like to watch a 10-hour movie? No, definitely not. Okay, how about we break down that 10-hour movie into 1-hour episodes and you binge watch it instead? Yes, brilliant. Like, how many of us are guilty of this, of just like, oh, I'm going to check out this new series, And Netflix does this amazing thing of just like automatically playing the next episode. Next thing you know, you've spent your whole day watching Netflix. And not only that, like, what's Netflix, like £6 a month, Prime, £7 a month, whatever it is. All these things, you just think, oh, £6 a month, £7 a month, £10 a month, it's not that much. Next thing you know, you're spending £50 a month on TV subscriptions or delivery subscriptions. Bonkers. So yeah, number 5 would be reduce your subscriptions or just eradicate them entirely. Read a book, they're great. Number 6 is a new phone. Do we really need a new phone? Like, I've started this YouTube channel, I'm filming on an iPhone 10, which is relatively new, but I got this at CEX, like for a few £100 or whatever, rather than going for like the ultimate new phone and such. Have the latest iPhone or the latest whatever with the... I love future tech, I can't even name these things. What are the earbuds? Oh, AirPods? Yeah, I'll have all of this stuff in terms of like £200 AirPods and £1,000 phones that they're paying a monthly fee for. And it just is bonkers, but it's just this hedonistic adaptation of we get the latest thing, we have it, we love it, we're amazed by it, and then suddenly the next big shiny thing's out and the thing that we've got just isn't so great anymore. That camera doesn't seem so good, it actually seems pretty shit, and the display seems pretty crap, and suddenly it's not the right size for us because we want the new big shiny thing. There's things that, I don't know, I've just seen new phones as something that's just like, you've got to be quite wealthy to obtain them and have them, but obviously you have like, realistically £70 a month, whatever it is, for like the brand new latest phone isn't like out of reach for a lot of us, but relative to spending on a phone, it's a huge amount of money. So that's just one thing to watch out for. If you have got the new latest phone, it's going to be, if you're sitting there like holding your iPhone 12, not to make you feel guilty. But yeah, new phones is something to watch out for. Do you really need to have the latest phone? So bear that one in mind. I hope I'm not coming across like too judgmental and too aggressive. Like, we all fall for this, and it's all part of human nature. We want to have like these nice shiny things. It's in our like brain chemistry. And these tech companies literally invest millions, tens of millions, billions on drawing our attention to them. They have the smartest brains in the world, making sure that they can grasp our attention and have us desire these things. That's what marketing, that's what sales is. Number 7, I always did this when I was going out on days skating, like especially if we were going to London for the day, and that is when you're eating out, take a packed lunch and don't buy out. It saved me a fortune. I did get worse than that. I used to like scrounge for people, like when they go to McDonald's or like Tesco's for a meal deal, we'd like go to Nando's. I'd be the kid in there that's got like a bag of... I actually remember this day, there was like 20 of us all met up skating, and we all met at the cafe to go for breakfast. So everyone's there with their fry up, and I'm there with like a bag of grapes, munching on some grapes. And suddenly, like, everyone's getting a bit full, and I'm just like, are you gonna eat that? Are you gonna eat that? Are you done with that? Are you gonna eat that? Are you gonna eat your bread? No, not gonna eat your bread. No, okay, I'll have it. I was like so bad at this for scrounging. I would eat food from everywhere. Saved me a lot of money, and I didn't, well, this wasn't even me doing a cost saving exercise. This was just, I didn't have money. And if I had £20, I could go and have a day out skating in London, or I could really stretch it, be careful with my money. I could have like 4 days skating in London. I'd have like a train ticket that I got. My mate had a friends and family rail card, so my train ticket, this is when I was like 15, 16, so my ticket was like £1 or £2.50. Then I'd take a packed lunch, and then I'd have like £2 that I'd get like a baguette or something for 50p, if that, some filling, and I'd just get like a bottle of water or whatever if I ran out. It's all weird. And then I'd just scrounge. If people went to have their meal deal and they didn't eat all their sandwich, I'd eat it. Wasn't fussy. You don't have to be as bad as I was, but yeah, just think about, can you take a packed lunch? Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to have to carry it, but it is a great cost saving exercise. That applies to coffees as well, like make your coffee at home. I'm bad with that though. Number 8, fast fashion is not cheap. How many of us are guilty of just like having our favourite websites we go on just to see what clothes there are, just to do something in the evening, scroll through what's ASOS got, what are the deals, or what's the new line, what's the new season, and we'll just end up spending. And then the whole thing with like rapid delivery and like free returns and stuff is that you can order like 12 items, like 8 different things in all different sizes, have them all arrive at your house, have all of this stuff, and then just find what you like, what you don't like, and then just return. And one key thing to note, like I'm talking about cost saving here, not the environment, but to apply the environment to this, when you return stuff, I have conversations with people and they're like, oh, it just goes back to the store and they just like steam it, put it back on the shelf or in the warehouse. No, they don't. And when you like look into a lot of fast fashion, the whole concept is the reason it's so cheap is they manufacture it so cheaply that when you return an item, it's actually more expensive for them to steam it and use the like labour it would take to get that ready to go back on the shelf, clean it, make sure it's all good, and actually check it to make sure it's not been damaged in any way, Therefore, they'll just dump it. It will go to landfill. It will just be shipped out. Oftentimes, there will be warehouses full of just stuff that's been returned, all perfectly fine, but it will just be shipped out and just incinerated or left for landfill, because it's cheaper to do that than it is for the labour, as I said, to go through and restock it. So they manufacture it on such mass levels, such huge quantities, and that's why it's so cheap. So fast fashion is not cheap. And not only that, you think, oh, it's only a t-shirt for £4, oh, this jacket's only £18, whatever. But when you're ordering all these things and you're constantly doing it, like, realistically, in terms of fundamental need, we need to buy clothes once a year. Obviously, everyone's different, like, do different things. And I would say even that is like, I would stick by that with firm confidence, because I do, well, if you watch my videos, you know, like, my business fell apart, lost all my stuff, so I'm the one doing the garden now. Plus, I'm a skateboarder. I literally spend my time grinding the concrete floor, pretty much. So I destroy clothes very quickly. And even, I generally don't buy clothes. And the only thing I do is, like, charity shops every now and then, or, like, my mate has a skate shop and a few other, like, local, if I've got, like, mates that have got local brands they're trying to start up and such, I'll just buy that, just to support them. And I don't buy clothes. It'll just be Christmas, birthdays. Oh, well, this helps me put something on the list when people want to buy me stuff. I'm like, yeah, my jeans have all gone thin and they're wearing fruit. I need a new pair of jeans. Fast fashion is not cheap. Plus, I'm coming off the topic here, but with a tangent, bear with me, hopefully it'll be valuable. We as humans only assess, generally for most of us, we only assess cost as a monetary value. We don't assess the costs often with, some of us do with time, but a lot of us especially don't with footprint. And I think a lot in the recent years, a lot of us are starting to become more conscious of what the footprint cost is of an item. And fast fashion is a terrible industry for the environment in terms of that carbon footprint, the carbon cost of your item of clothing is so bad when compared to just going to a charity shop, something that's pre-owned. Anyway, I digress. Number 9, budgeting. So this is a case of, you've got your job, money comes in your account. Going, just in my experience of college, like, especially at college, people in uni, people are so bad with this. They go to work, they get their, like, pay slip. That was it. They were going to the club that night or that weekend, that week, spending like 90% of their pay slip, and then, like, pretty much moaning that they're broke the rest of the time. And then come the week before payday, they're like, not even eating because they've got no money. Budgeting is hugely important. The earlier you can learn this, the more impact it will have on your life. Like, gaining a financial education, it can work wonders for your life, and that can compound over years, where pretty much if you understand some basic financial literacy, you will be a millionaire by the time you retire. It's just, you don't even have to have a high paying job. You can have a job, work with your money well, live below your means, you'll be sorted. So budgeting is just a case of, if you get paid monthly, weekly, whatever it is, let's go with monthly. A lot of people get paid monthly, and I found that people were actually worse when they got paid monthly, because you got this big bulk of money and suddenly you can spend it. Get that money, and just, like, this will be subject to yourself. So whether that's, if you want to invest money, if you want to put money into savings, if you want to, like, rainy day fund, I would recommend all 3 of those things. But just have that set up so that you can do it with direct debits. If the money gets paid into your current account, you can set up direct debits so that every month your wage comes in, that money goes off, and then you can set up a separate account for your spending money. It could just be, I suppose, really simple and lazy with this, is that when the money comes in your current account, don't use your current account for your spending. Have a separate account and give yourself money, like, budget yourself, like, pocket money essentially, so that when you are going for nights out, going for food, hanging out with friends, you can just transfer whatever it is, 10%, 5%, 50% of your earnings into that account. So that's what your budget is for the month, and that will limit, like, going back to point number 1 on nights out, if something does happen with your card, someone finds it on the dance floor and then decides they're gonna start buying rounds for everyone and drinking Dom Perignon, then at least you're limited in what you can lose there. Obviously, we've all got to live, and, like, you never know when your last day is, and don't, like, start starving yourself going without. And if you really do fundamentally want to have, like, that Starbucks every day, then it's like, this is just advice, and this is what I've picked up over time, so it's completely your decision what you do with your money. But I'm just trying to give some helping points there that have helped me massively. So yeah, limiting what you spend on these, like, simple wants and desires that aren't fundamental needs. Just be careful of that, and you can do that with budgeting. It's really helpful. On that, you can have a lot of conversations. Like, oftentimes banks will offer all kinds of talks and seminars and whatnot for free for you to get an understanding about budgeting. Not only that, when it comes to, like, mortgages and such, I've been on free mortgage workshops with different banks and such, just to gauge how the market works, what they lend, what the different types of mortgages are, which again could be a different video. But anyway, Budgeting, huge thing for number 9. Last but not least, number 10. So to wrap up, the final point is something that I hope will be really helpful for you and can be done quite effectively and quite cleverly, especially if you do live in more of a communal space. Like if you're at college or uni and you're in halls, this can be really effective for you. So bear this one in mind. And that is hire, share, borrow. With these 3 things. This can apply if you've got your own home as well. So if you are watching this, like, it's going to be really helpful. Like if you've got some hedges or whatever, you need to do some gardening. Realistically, how often do you do it? Or if you've got some painting to do, bits of DIY around the house, do you actually need to own the item that you're going to use for this day of DIY, whatever it is? And that can apply to, like, if you're at uni or college, if you're doing some sort of, I don't know, if you're studying fashion or if you're studying art, if you're doing one sort of workshop on something and you need specialist equipment, is there a way that rather than actually buying and purchasing this equipment and such, can you borrow it or hire it for the day, week, however long you need it for? But this can also apply for even like you're going back to number 1, nights out. I keep going back to number 1. I never really ever go on nights out, and I've never liked clubbing, but I just know that it's a massively popular thing for people, especially now we're coming out of like the lockdowns and such, and we're getting back to, well, I keep saying that, but we keep fearing another lockdown. But anyway, clubbing is going to be a huge thing, and I think the sector is going to open up massively more because we're able to go out, although people do like the idea of staying in and getting just eat and whatnot. You can apply this with like going out. If you've got like this fancy handbag you like the idea of, and you don't want to like be seen with the same thing or the same dress, if you and your friends are like similar sizes, one can own the Gucci belt, one can own the Louis Vuitton bag, one can own different expensive brands, the Prada jacket, and you can just swap. This can cause arguments with friends, especially on nights out if you get drunk and spill stuff down it. But either way, it can work. But I wouldn't want to wear like that kind of stuff on a night out because you are probably going to get covered in something. But anyway, you can find a way to like one person spends, and if you've all got mutual interest and you're interested in the same sorts of things, then chances are you can do this and it can work quite effectively. And you can utilise this even, I do this with my mates in terms of like, not consciously, but just subconsciously. How it happens is like on days out, one person will drive, we'll all jump in their car, but then someone else will just like we'll stop somewhere, grab a coffee, so then we'll get the driver a coffee or whatever, or someone will buy lunch, or we'll go into a skate park that you have to pay for, so then it'll be like, all right, you drove and I paid the toll, he can pay for the entry, that kind of thing. So you just got to share these costs so that someone doesn't get hit hard. And especially like if you are doing, well, in the context of my life, if we're going from one, like we have the Dartford crossing, you have to pay to cross. So if we're doing that on a regular basis and we just go in different cars, I suppose rather than someone being hit one night of like paying the toll, all the fuel or electric charge, plus the entry to the skate park, if we just divide that each time, it's like, oh, you drove, I'll get you your entry to the skate park, or oh, you drove, I'll pay your toll. If you just like swap around each time, it means you're not paying 40 quid or whatever on a night out and everyone else is paying like a £5 to get in. So this can be a really helpful thing if you can find, and you can be quite adaptive and you can be quite creative with it in terms of finding different ways to hire, share and borrow, especially when it comes to like big events like weddings and such, just hiring a car or hiring a suit, that kind of thing. So there's been 10 points. I hope they've been helpful. I hope you've got some value from it. If there's anything critical you think I've missed out, let me know in the comments below. If it has been a good video for you, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.